Okay, so let's look at some of the terminologies that we must know in R programming or in data science. Very important. So these things, well, they look so basic, but a little bit necessary. And that is sometimes we don't know what is a package, it's a function, a variable, argument, object, what the data point, and then whatsoever. I'm going to break that very easily. Okay. So let me share I'm already sharing my screen now. And so here I'm going to be talking about just few of them. I'm going to start with package. What is a package? A package is a set of functions written to analyze a particular data structure. A particular data structure. It can be a time series data, it can be a cancer data, it can be genomic data, it can be statistical, what is it, different statistical data. It can be any kind of data, a data frame or whatsoever. But a package is written to analyze, or a package is written with a set of functions, several related functions, to be able to analyze a particular data type. And that's how I'll put it. Now, what are the examples of packages? We have a package like mass, and then dplyr, tidyverse, and countable. There are over 18,000 packages in R. So, how do we get a package into an into your R environment? Sorry about that. We install it. We simply install a package. So how do we do that? We come and click here. You have to click on your packages, come and click on install. You can come here. If the package is on CRAN repository, you can see it is CRAN repository. Then you come here and type the name of the package. By the time you finish typing, it will drop down and then you can just click install. It will install it. After a package is installed, then you can load the package and then you can begin to have a clear understanding of what that package is all about. For instance, I have already installed a package called dplyr. If you want to know how packages are installed, check on my YouTube videos. I have already explained the various ways of installing packages. And so I want to talk about example of a package which is called dplyr. So if I click here, I have loaded the package. It was on my drive C, but at the moment it is not found in my R environment. So this dplyr comes with a lot of functions and it is used in data transformation and other data analysis, but it follows the same structure with all the functions. So for instance, if I have a package, let's say I just said what dplyr is one of it, like this. Once you have installed it and you have loaded it, you don't do anything with it. You are now using the functions which are found in it. An example is dplyr. Example, you can also find as is also one of them. You can also have something like a survivor. It's also a package. You can also have something like tidyverse. It's also okay. You have tidyverse. There are a lot of packages. The point I want to make is that a package is simply written, or they are a set of functions. I mean, what is being written to analyze a particular data type, and that is how it works. So there are a lot of them. And once you load the package into our environment, you don't type the package any longer. You are now using the functions and the argument which are in it. The next point is after you have the package, now let's now look at what is a function. A function, like I've already stated, is simply a theory or an algorithm, or in basic sense, a formula that has been written to be able to put a data in a particular fashion. So when you apply a function to a data, you want the data to be in a particular fashion. For instance, I just mentioned something like dplyr. So let's say I want to load the dplyr package. I'll just say library, and then I'm going to have dplyr. But because I've already loaded, I won't run this line. So let's say assume that it's loaded. Now when I can now be using the functions which are found in dplyr. And what are some of the functions? We have a function like select, like mutate, like filter, like for so many things. So if you check, I have a data set here. let me say head, and then I want to find out whether the data set is there. Cookies, yes, is there. So here, even the head I have used here is a function. And what does the function do? The function allow me to print just 6 lines, the first 6 lines or the first 6 rows of a data frame, or what is it, a matrix data. And so that's a function. Now, so when we talk about a function, it's simply like a formula or an algorithm that has been written to be able to put data in a particular fashion based on the interest of you, the data analyst. Okay, and so that's just one example. And so then under the dplyr, several functions are there, like I've already explained. So I'm going to pick one of the functions and you see how it works. So I'm going to come here and then I'm going to say cookies, see, like this. So once I load the dplyr, it comes with several packages. One of the packages it comes is a pipe operator. So if I press my Control Shift and M, then you see this, which means pipe operator. What am I piping? I am piping into a function. What is the function? I am piping into a function called filter. You see that once I start typing filter, then the function name will simply come. And when I do this, and now this is what you should observe. Every function you write, it comes with this automatic open and close bracket, telling you that it is ready to take in some argument or some object. I'm coming to explain the two. So now I have my, what am I filtering? Let's say I want to filter, let's say food. And then the food, I want anything that is related to uh, uh, let's say Chubani, and that is it. So it's going to go into the food column and check anything that is related. What is that? That is the same thing as what Chubani. And then when I do that, I run it, and then it goes to pick only that particular column and then print out the data for me here. And so this is what we call a function. So the function is here, and then the package itself is here or is over there. What we need to pay attention is how functions work. When you write a function, there is no space between the function and the open and close bracket. So another function that we can also talk about, what is it in dplyr, is let's say mutate. We can also use the mutate function. We can use the and the mutate function allows us to be able to create new variables. And so I could have, like, I selected this. I could have also said another function is to, then I pipe out again and come here and say that I want to, now that I have filtered, I want to group it by, so that immediately I start typing group by, you will see this. I am grouping it by what? I'm grouping it by, let's say, revenue. Revenue comes, and I'm maybe costs, and then let's say profits, and then that's all. So if I run that, then it's going to bring out whatsoever that I wanted to do, and the functions will simply, come out with whatever that I wanted to. I'm just allowing you to see the examples of how functions work. So this is a function. There are other functions like um, like standalone functions which are found within the R environment. Okay, so like head. So I want to print the first 5 or the first 6 lines. So I'll simply say cookies. I have that, and then let's say sum. So I want to sum what? Let's say I want to sum the revenue. So I'll simply say cookies like this, and then if I have this, I can simply go to the revenue function, and I want to sum that particular one. So it will sum everything and tell you my total revenue. And you can look at it here. So these are functions. Anytime you write a function, let's say a mean, I want to find out the mean profit. And so if I say a mean like this, and then I simply go to my cookies, and if I should do this, then I simply go to my profit. So I want to find the mean profit. Even the dollar sign that we have here is a function. Okay, and then that is how it is. So we've looked at package, we've looked at a function, and the one thing I want you to know is that functions are not installed, functions are not loaded. Functions only come after you have installed the particular package. Apart from the inbuilt function that has been written with our program that came, there are also packages that come with functions. I've already explained this. So this is how it works. Now, after function, what is the next thing? Now, the next thing I want to start to pay attention is argument. Functions take argument. Functions, what is the difference between an argument and then an object? Let me explain an argument first before I come to an object. There are a lot of functions which uh, 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 okay, there are a lot of functions which do not have argument. They just have the algorithm to perform the task. Others too have to take other arguments. So what is an argument? An argument is a subset of a function that is allowed to perform a distinct role or allowed to put the data in a particular role. For instance, if let me load in this particular package called ggplot2. So that's ggplot2. So I have my ggplot2, which is here. If I load it, the package is being loaded now. So if I come and then I put, let's say, ggplot. So the ggplot comes. So if you check inside, when you write ggplot, it comes though the ggplot is a function, but you can see that there is something called data. This data here is an argument. Mapping is an argument. Environment is an argument. So the argument also takes in, or it allows you to also restructure the entire function in a particular fashion. So it tells me that I need to have a particular function does not take just one single data set. It takes different arguments to be able to allow you get the data in that particular shape. So if I start with data, it will ask me where are the data. So I will say cookies. That's where the data is coming from. And then the next thing is it's asking me of what? Mapping. So maybe I'll come to my mapping here, and then I will simply say that under the mapping, I'll also take another argument called aesthetics. And my aesthetics allow me to choose my y-axis and then my x-axis. So you can see that immediately I put in there the argument, then you can see my x and then my y. It tells me to put in my x-axis and then my y-axis. And so I could put here revenue, and then I could put another one here, costs. And then I'm good to go. So I go out of it, I can put comma here, and then maybe I'm just going to say maybe, or I can leave it around this particular place. And so this is a whole, this is a function. Inside here, when you see another kind of a function that is equal to something, that is an argument. That's what we call an argument. Now, if you have an argument, so if I run this, it's actually going to print, just going to give me because I've not added anything. But if I had, because it's ggplot, I could also add another function. ggplot takes different functions, like whatever like that. So I could have said I can add my geom here, and then maybe my geom and underscore, maybe scatter. Or maybe I could look at geom point. I don't know if geom point is going to. So I could have my geom underscore point, and the geom point is there. So I've not immediately I put my geom point. You see that it's a function, and it opens open and close bracket, which is also it means that it's ready to take in either argument or object. So if I run that, it turns out Chantrol. Now we can see how the data points are looking like. So you can see that they are geom point, and you can see how the data is looking like. So these are, today I'm not doing data visualization. I'm just looking at how the differences between packages and whatsoever. So this is a function. Inside here, when you see this, that's simply what? An argument. Now, what is an object? The difference between an object and an argument. Now, if I say scatter, or if I say histogram, okay, if I say hist is a function, but in this particular function, It's simply just asking me of a particular data. So if I come here and I just put cookies, and then I come here to select maybe one of the columns. Oh, sorry. I've, to select one of the columns, uh, let's say profit, like this. And I try to run a histogram. So look at how that looks like. Now, in this case, the profit is an object. It's no longer an argument. An argument is data, then you assign something to it again. So this is the difference. The object simply take the variable that contains the data points and run with it. An argument actually tries to make sure that it structure one part of the data. You see, here we are going to do a ggplot. We are going to plot, but we are saying that part of it should be data, part of it should be mapping, part of it should be geo point and whatsoever. So we have splitted the function into several parts. And so each of the part would have an identity. And that identity is what we call the argument. And that's the difference. But when you take a function and then you put in the data direct into the function, that data that you put inside there is called an object. So here, profit is an object, but not an argument. You see? But if we had said we had given a particular description that is equal to profit, that description is called an argument. Data here is called an argument because it's a description of taking, or that tells us what we need to take or what we need to put there. So it tells us that the first thing we need to take is the cookies. And that's what, so these are the little differences that we need to pay attention to. Now, this part, what is the next thing is variable. What is a variable? Now, a variable is simply what you have created. You created the variable. For instance, I can say interest. Okay. So I'm going to just create a variable called interest like this. And so that's my variable that I have created. I give the name. I can decide to spell it anyhow. And then what am I going to do? I'm coming here to say cookies. And then I'm simply just going to say, what is it? Costs. My cost is there. So I have assigned cost to interest. So this is now my variable. Now, if you also display, if I say head, or let me just use this function. So names, if I have names here, and I come to put this data they call cookies, if I run it here, it tells me the column headers, which are called variables. So variables are always created by you, the data analyst. You create them. Now, even if you imported the data, but the column headers are also called variables. Now, they are called variables. But now, when the variable is put in a function, it is now called an object. All right. For instance, I have just at this them here are variables. The one I have created here, interest, is a variable. But if I come down here and I said histogram, or the function is actually hist, and I put it this way, and then I come to put the variable that I created, interest. I don't know if I run it. I don't know whether I ran this. Yeah. If I put it here, it is no longer, because it is inside a function, because it's saved as a function, it is now called an object. The function has taken an object. It is an object now. If it stands alone like this, it is a variable. I can print the variable. But when a function is being executed on a variable, that variable becomes an object. And that's what I want us to pay attention to. It's the same thing that I'm going to get here. You see how it is. So what is a data point? A data point is simply the individual data. For instance, I can just say now, let's say I have cookies, and then I am going to select, let's say town. And then the town, I bring out this particular small, uh, what the index function. And then, okay, the way I have selected is now a vector. So because it's a vector, I can say I want to print the first to the 10. Now, what I'm going to print are data points. Now, natural number 2 here is a data point. Another natural number 2 is a data point. Each of them is a data point. So how many data points do I have here? 10. These are data points. Data points. For instance, I could have come down here again and say cookies, all right? And then I just select costs. And then let's say I want to print. So I'll simply bring this. So when I do that, and let's say I want to print the first 20 costs, the first 20 costs. So it brings out all the dates. So here is a data point. Around this one is also a data point. Around this one is also a data point. But these are integers. What I printed first were strings. Immediately you see them in double quote, it is called a string. Even though it's a data point, it's a string data point. These ones are also data points, but they are integers because they do not have decimals. If they were having decimals, they will either be called numbers or they are called double. You see? So these are the individual different things that can be confusing as to how packages what is the argument and whatsoever. What argument does it take? Now, to summarize, we've seen how what the packages work. Is the only thing we install are packages, and then we load it into our environment. Functions, we pick them. Is either they come with a package or they are inbuilt functions, or they are functions you write yourself. You can also write your own function. You see, I can write my own function now. I forgot to have mentioned that when I was talking about functions. You can also write your own function and you can call the function. You see, if you don't know how what that works, check on one of my YouTube videos. You can see functions, and then you learn how to write functions and then call it yourself. And so these are these are the few things that you need to know about packages, about functions, about objects, about argument, about variables, about data points. I hope I have been able to convince you a little bit. If you don't understand any of them, or if you have difficulty with any of them, just put it in the comment box, and trust me, I will come and then address it. Thank you, and have a great night. Bye bye.